If your legs feel heavier than they used to, if you tire out faster on your feet, if you notice yourself slowing down on walks and chalking it up to age, I need you to stop and consider something. That might not be aging, that might be your circulation. 1 in 5 people over 65 has meaningful arterial narrowing in their legs, peripheral artery disease, and nearly 80% of them have no classic symptoms, no dramatic pain, no obvious warning, just a gradual heaviness, a shorter distance before the legs want to stop, a fatigue that feels like getting older when it's actually something specific happening in the blood vessels. And here's what makes this matter right now. The most effective, non-invasive treatment for it isn't a medication. It isn't a procedure. It's 4 specific exercises, most of which you can do in a chair, that activate the exact mechanism your body uses to push blood back up from your legs. That's what we're going to cover, the why, the what, and exactly how to do each one. Your legs are the furthest point from your heart. Getting blood down there is the easy part. Gravity does most of the work. Getting it back up is the challenge, and the primary mechanism your body relies on to do that isn't your heart. It's your calf muscles. Every time your calf contracts, every step you take, every time you rise onto your toes, it squeezes the deep veins in your lower leg and pushes blood upward with enough pressure to overcome gravity. Researchers have measured it. That squeeze generates around 140 millimeters of mercury of pressure. For context, that's comparable to a blood pressure reading. Your calves are functioning as a second pump. When that pump isn't engaged, when you're sitting for long stretches, standing still, or simply moving less than you used to, blood pools in the lower legs. The veins fill up. Fluid leaks into surrounding tissue. That's where the heaviness comes from. That's where the swelling comes from. That's where the fatigue comes from. Now add arterial narrowing into that picture. In peripheral artery disease, the arteries feeding your leg muscles are partially blocked by plaque buildup, the same process that affects the arteries around the heart. Less blood gets in. The muscles don't get the oxygen they need during activity, so they cramp, or they just quit early. The legs say stop before the person wants to. This is the part that catches most people off guard, because PAD develops slowly over years. People don't notice the individual steps of decline. They just notice that they can't walk as far as they could 5 years ago, that stairs have become more of a decision, that they're choosing the closer parking spot not because they're lazy, but because the farther one means their legs will ache by the time they get inside. They adapt, and in adapting, in moving less to avoid the discomfort, they accelerate the very problem they're trying to avoid. Because the calf pump stops working, the blood pools more, the arteries get less of the stimulus they need to stay open, the decline compounds. This is the cycle the 4 exercises break. Exercise 1, walking, and why most people are doing it wrong for this purpose. Walking is the gold standard. The American Heart Association, the American College of Cardiology, the American College of Sports Medicine, they all classify structured walking as first-line treatment for peripheral artery disease. Medicare covers supervised walking exercise therapy specifically for PAD. 36 sessions over 12 weeks. That's how seriously the evidence treats this. But there's a finding from the research that most people never hear, and it completely changes how you should be thinking about your walks. A study out of Northwestern University followed 305 people with PAD across 4 medical centers for a full year. They split them into 3 groups. One group walked at a pace fast enough to bring on some leg discomfort. One group walked at a comfortable pace with no discomfort. And one group didn't change their activity at all. The results were stark. The people who walked to the point of moderate discomfort significantly improved their walking performance. Distance, endurance, the whole picture. The people who walked at a comfortable pace, no measurable improvement over the control group, none. The lead researcher put it plainly, walking through some leg discomfort is what delivers the benefit. That discomfort is the signal that blood is being pushed through the restricted vessels and reaching the muscle. It's not damage, it's the treatment working. So here's what this means practically. You don't need a treadmill, you don't need a gym, but you do need to walk at a pace that makes your legs work. Not a stroll, not a comfortable amble, a pace where you feel your legs pushing back a little. And you keep going for as long as you can, rest when you need to, then go again. Start with whatever you can manage. 10 minutes, 15. Build from there, 3 to 5 days a week. The discomfort you've been avoiding is exactly where the progress lives. Exercise 2. Calf raises. If walking is the foundation, calf raises are the direct follow-through, the most reliable way to engage the calf pump I just described. Stand behind a chair and hold the back for balance. Rise up onto your toes as high as you can. Hold for 2 seconds. Lower back down slowly. That's 1. Do 15 to 20 repetitions. What's happening? Every raise contracts the calf muscles fully, squeezing the deep veins and pushing blood upward. Every slow lowering reloads the pump. You're not just building muscle, you're actively driving circulation with each rep. If standing is difficult, seated calf raises work the same mechanism. Sit with both feet flat on the floor, lift your heels, rising onto your toes as far as you can. Hold briefly, lower. The muscle activation is nearly identical. A study of 307 adults tracked blood flow velocity in the leg veins before and after 5 minutes of calf pumping movements. Blood flow in the vein behind the knee went from around 13 centimeters per second at rest to over 15 centimeters per second after the exercise. That's a measurable improvement in circulation from 5 minutes of movement, sitting in a chair. Do 2 sets of 15 to 20 twice a day, morning and evening if you can. The consistency matters more than the volume. Exercise 3, ankle pumps. This is the one you can do anywhere, anytime, sitting at the kitchen table, watching television, riding in the car. No standing required, no balance needed, just your feet and 10 minutes. Sit comfortably with your feet flat on the floor. Point your toes down toward the ground as far as they'll go. Then pull them back up toward your shins as far as they'll go. That's 1 pump. Do it rhythmically, steadily, for as long as you can, aiming for 5 minutes minimum. What you're doing is activating the same calf muscle pump as the calf raise, just through a smaller range of motion. The calf contracts on the downward point, releases on the upward flex, and with each cycle, pushes a small amount of blood upward through the deep veins. The same 307-person study that tracked calf pump blood flow found that 5 minutes of ankle pumps produced a significant increase in blood flow velocity. And this next part is worth pausing on. The speed of the pumping didn't matter. Slow pumps, holding each position for 10 full seconds, produced the same circulation improvement as fast pumps doing 30 per minute. Most people found the faster rhythm more natural, but if your feet or ankles are stiff in the morning, slow is fine. The result is the same. This makes ankle pumps particularly useful as a first morning movement before you even get out of bed if you want. After a night of lying still, blood has been pooling in your lower legs for hours. 2 minutes of ankle pumps before you stand gets that blood moving before your legs have to bear your full weight. It's also what you should be doing during any long period of sitting, a 5-minute session every hour if you're desk-bound or traveling. Think of it less as an exercise and more as maintenance. Your calf pump runs on movement. Ankle pumps keep it running when you can't walk. Exercise 4, seated marching. Ankle pumps work the lower leg. Calf raises work the calf. Walking works everything. Seated marching fills the gap. It activates the muscles in the upper leg and hip, which make up a significant portion of the leg's total circulation territory and often get no activation at all during long periods of sitting. Sit upright in a firm chair with your feet flat on the floor. Lift one knee up toward your chest, as high as comfortable, like an exaggerated march in slow motion. Hold for 1 to 2 seconds. Lower it. Repeat on the other side. That's 1 cycle. Do 20 to 30 repetitions per leg, or march continuously for 2 to 3 minutes. The thigh muscles contracting on each lift squeeze blood through the large vein running up through your thigh and back toward the heart. Combined with the ankle pump working the lower leg, seated marching gives you full-length leg circulation without leaving your chair. Add ankle circles if your ankles feel stiff. While the foot is lifted on each march, rotate the ankle 5 times clockwise, 5 times counterclockwise before lowering. It takes 10 seconds per leg and keeps the ankle joint mobile, which matters because reduced ankle range of motion is one of the things that makes the calf pump progressively less effective with age. Do seated marching as a set with ankle pumps. 5 minutes of ankle pumps, followed by 2 minutes of seated marching. That combination covers the full length of the leg, takes less than 10 minutes, and requires nothing except a chair. Before I give you the routine, I want you to sit with something for a moment. PAD is progressive. The arterial narrowing that's behind that heaviness, that shorter walking distance, that fatigue in the legs, it doesn't stay where it is. Left unaddressed, it moves. The same plaque process affecting the leg arteries is affecting arteries elsewhere. The walking and leg circulation study followed over 700 adults with PAD for 5 years. People with even mild disease were more than 3 times more likely to lose the ability to walk a quarter mile or climb a flight of stairs without stopping, compared to people without PAD, independently of age and other health conditions. Think about what that means on the ground. Not in a medical study. In a life, you stop being able to walk to the corner, then you stop being able to walk to the mailbox. Getting up from the couch to the kitchen becomes a calculation. The garden you've worked for 20 years starts looking like too much. The grandkids want to go to the park and you find a reason to stay on the bench, not because you decided to stop living that way, because your legs decided for you, quietly, gradually, across 1,000 small moments you barely noticed. That is where untreated circulatory decline goes. That is the destination. These 4 exercises don't guarantee you avoid it. Nothing does. But the research on exercise for PAD is about as unambiguous as it gets in medicine. Movement is the treatment. Consistent movement, week after week, is what keeps the arteries responsive, what keeps the backup pathways open, what slows the decline that otherwise compounds in silence. You have 4 exercises. Here's the routine. Walk 3 to 5 days a week at a pace that challenges your legs. Not a stroll, a real effort. Calf raises, 2 sets of 15 to 20, morning and evening. Ankle pumps for 5 minutes every hour of prolonged sitting. Seated marching combined with ankle pumps for a 10-minute session at least once daily. That's it. No gym, no equipment, nothing to buy. The legs you have in 5 years are being shaped right now by what you do with them. Start today. If this was useful, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. New videos every week. I'll see you in the next one.